One of the problems that you're going to be asked to do on the homework is to be able to take a slope that's given and a point that's given and to write an equation in slope point form. So remember the formula for point slope form is y minus y1 equals m minus times the quantity of x minus x1. Now remember that if I look at this point, -8 and 3, that is the x part of the ordered pair, so that's x1, and that's y1, and we're going to substitute those in to this equation, and then that value right there is m. So the first thing we want to do is always write the point slope form. The next thing we want to do is substitute the values in. So y minus y1, which would be 3. Now one thing that I've taught you here, and I'll talk about this in a minute, is that because this negative, whatever numbers I have there, when we substitute them in, they're always going to change signs. So let's finish this and we'll talk about it a little bit more. So doing this substitution, m is 1/4. And then I have x minus a -8. Now this is the idea here, because of this negative sign that's built into the formula there, and that negative sign there, what it causes is a sign change to these ordered pair. So always remember that you're going to have to change your signs as you substitute them in. So that -8's going to become positive, so 1/4 x plus 8, and this positive 3 is going to become a -3, and then y minus 3. So the formula, if we have to simplify it, on this one we don't have to, there's nothing to simplify, we get y minus 3 equals 1/4 times x plus 8. Okay, the second type of problem that you're going to have to do is where they give you 2 points. Sometimes they'll give you 2 points that are given from a plane, from a coordinate plane, or they just might outright give you the ordered pair without giving them to you on the coordinate plane. So in doing this, the way that I like to do it, and because it doesn't matter which way they give it to you, you kind of do it the same way, is you want to find the slope, and you want to do this, you want to create a table. And I think we've talked about this before. So to find the slope, we're going to create a table. So if I x and a y, I have my first ordered pair is 1 and 2. And I take this to be my first ordered pair because I'm going from left to right. My second ordered pair is 3 and a -2. What I want to do is find the difference from going to 2 down to a -2. That would be a total of 4. So 2 down to a -2, there's 2 going to 0. From 0 I go another 2. So that would be a total of a -4. Now if I look at my change in my x's, I start at 1 and I'm going to 3, so that's a total of a +2. So now we know that the slope m is the change of y's over the change of my x's, correct? So I will take a -4 divided by 2, so my slope is a -2, or you can write it as a -2/1. I think as far as your textbook, it'll want the -2. Now this turns into a problem just like we had from that first example. So we're going to write the point slope form of the line. So remember y1, or y minus y1, excuse me, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. Now remember that this is x1, that's y1, and then right there is m, just like it says, and we're going to substitute those values in just like it says here. So we have y. Now remember this sign change we talked about just a minute ago? So if this y is positive, when I write it in the formula, it'll change sign. The m doesn't change sign, it's just whatever's there, and then the x changes sign, so that'll be x minus 1. Okay. Now, this is point slope form. And that's fine for point slope form, but what they want us to do is to write it in slope intercept form. So the next thing that I do is I have to distribute. So that negative 2's got to go inside. So this is going to change to y minus 2 equals a negative 2 times x is a negative 2x. And a negative 2 times a negative 1 will be a positive 2. And now I have to get the y by itself. So remember the slope intercept form, the y is by itself, so it's y equals mx plus b. So my next step here is I'm going to add 2 to each side to get the y by itself. That goes to 0, right? So I have y equals a negative 2x plus 4. So those are the hardest problems that you'll probably have to do on your assignment for this section. Okay, another type of problem that you'll have is where it looks like they do not give you an ordered pair, and what they're giving us is what we call function notation. This appears in the book in chapter 3, and we really didn't cover much in chapter 3. So let me zoom in here and we'll talk about this. So that's telling us that we have a function that the x is going to be 4, and this y is going to be a negative 2. And then I'm going to give you another point where x equals 8, and then y is going to be equal to 4. So we're going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. And so what this does give us is 2 ordered pair. So I have an ordered pair of 4 and a negative 2, and I have another ordered pair of 8 and 4. So just as before, I'm going to use this to find me a slope. So if I started in a negative 2 to 4 is going up to be positive, and negative 2 to 0 is 2, and 0 to 4 is a total of 6, and then here I'm going up a total of 4 to 8 is 4. So now remember, my slope is the change of y's over the change of the x's, correct? So this will be 6 over 4. Now we want to simplify that. We have 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. You can see the 2 over 2 simplifies to 1, so they're gone, and I get 3 over 2. That is your slope. Okay? So now that we know what these, we've used these points that's given in a function form, we'd be able to turn them into ordered pair, and from those ordered pair we've been able to find the slope. So that's step 1 right there, was all this stuff right here, is we found the slope, and the slope was m equals 3 over 2. Now it says use the slope and the point to write an equation of the line. Now remember, we're always going to use y1. So I am going to use 4 and a negative 2. So I'm going to use m equals 3 over 2. And the point that I'm going to use is 4 and a negative 2. Now it doesn't matter which point you use. We're always going to use the first ordered pair given. So when we talk about it in a problem, that we can show the same work and students won't get confused. Let's see, now they're using the second ordered pair. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take that off of there. Guess it really doesn't matter. They can use either one they want. So here we go. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember that is x1, that is y1, that's m. Remember the signs change when you put them in, so x plus 2, it's a negative 2, so it changes sign coming in. This is a positive 4, so it's going to go negative. The m doesn't change, so 3 halves, and I get x minus 4. So that's the substitution part right there. There's writing the slope-intercept form. And now if you're asked to write this in slope-intercept form, remember you have to distribute. And we're going to go ahead and do this. So 3 times x, 3 over 2 times x would be 3 over 2x. And then I have a negative. Now if I take my calculator and I take a negative 4 times it's a 3 divided by 2, and that's how you'd have to type it in your calculator. So let me show this to you. So I have a negative 4 times 3 divided by 2. I get a negative 6. Now I have to subtract 2 from each side to get the y by itself, because remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, correct? So I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. So y equals 3 divided by 2x minus 8. So this is point slope formula right here. And sometimes you're asked to take it a little bit further, and you're asked to put it in slope-intercept form. So the slope-intercept form is right there. So make sure you read what your problem asks you to do. I think on the quiz that I've got written for you guys in School City, that I'm not asking you to write it in slope-intercept form. I just want you to put it in point slope formula. Okay, there we go, and thank you for watching.